So Paulo Costa is apparently returning early next year to face Robert Whittaker at UFC 298. And yes, I said apparently, since Paulo Costa is known as a fighter who always pulls out. The guy has pulled out a total of 5 times in the last 3 years. Paulo Costa was also inactive this year. He pulled out twice, and if you didn't know, Costa's a guy who only fights once a year. This dude does not take his career seriously at all. This guy does not take his career seriously anymore. I would argue that he stopped after he lost to Izzy, and nowadays he rather post memes on Twitter than actually fight. Like, who really knows if Paulo Costa is even going to show up for UFC 298 and face Robert Whittaker? This is the second time this fight has been booked. And if somehow a miracle happens and Paulo Costa does show up, he's gonna get schooled by Robert Whittaker. All I'm asking right now is that the UFC please, and I mean please, have a backup fighter for Costa versus Whittaker, man. Because we all know how good Paulo Costa's pullout game is. Now, if the fight actually goes through, I truly believe Rob is going to run through Costa. I think Rob will be so fast and too technical for Paulo. I think after the first round, Robert will start to get into the groove and he'll start picking apart Costa. It will probably be a similar performance to when Robert fought Marvin Vettori. And look, I know what you guys are going to say. How do you know if Rob will be the same guy? Since last time we saw him, he got obliterated by Dricus. Okay, and I hear you. First of all, Duplessis is actually really good. We found that out when he actually destroyed Rob. And let's be real, we didn't know how good Dricus really was before that fight. And besides that loss, when have we ever seen Whittaker just get obliterated like that? It doesn't really happen to the guy. I mean, look at the dudes he's messed up. Darren Till, Jared Cannonier, Brunson, Kelvin Gastelum, and Marvin Vettori. The dude is still a real top tier middleweight. Arguably the best 4th middleweight in the division. Now, as for Paulo Costa, he's not necessarily a terrible fighter, but it does remind me of a watered down Vanderlei Silva. He does have great powerful kicks though, I will give him that. And normally he tries to pressure and break his opponents. And so far, in my opinion, this style has been 50-50 for him. I mean, like I said earlier, this guy is not very active. What we've seen from him hasn't really been truly impressive so far, in my opinion. The dude barely beat an out of prime Luke Rockhold. He lost a unanimous decision to Marvin Vettori, who I would argue to anybody that Marvin isn't really that good either. And before that fight, he lost to Israel Adesanya. In fact, his last true win against a rake fighter was back in 2019 against Yoel Romero. And here's another fact you didn't know. Paulo Costa does not have any wins against any current ranked UFC fighter, right? And look, since I'm bashing Costa already, I might as well keep going, right? The dude does not have any knockout power. He couldn't even knock out Luke Rockhold, who's not even known for having a chin. The last time Paulo Costa finished somebody was 2018, and that was against Uriah Hall, and it wasn't even a knockout. It was a TKO. So yeah, if this fight does happen, I think Robert Whittaker obliterates Costa and ends up winning by unanimous decision. That is if Paulo Costa decides to actually show up, you know? Anyways, guys, those are my thoughts on the entire situation. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys on my next one.